Good evening. Welcome to the Focus TV. As you saw that great highlight put together by Miss Six Media of the second session of the Finest Open Run. We're going to get to that in just a minute. I want to welcome you guys, as always, to the Focus TV. Joined tonight by Octavia Wyatt, Raymond Lyons, Cardell Dudley Jr., Wilson Tarpe Jr., and, Rodney's with us as always, doing his magic behind the scenes. We got a lot to get through tonight. I'm going to talk a little Mystics and Pitts League, DC United, 9450, NBA playoffs, rapid fire if time allows it. But we're going to start. Cardell, the floor is yours. Finest Open Run all session team. And this is for the second session.
All right, as y'all just saw, it was another week of competitive basketball. It happened quickly. I knew it would come. I didn't think it would happen this soon. But Team Gray, Stephen Whitley, who played at Norfolk State, Colin Enemy, played at Mount St. Mary's, Tolu Telly from Ohio Christian NAIA program, Quinn Mincy, who's a Mount St. Mary's transfer, who's going to Polk State, which is a JUCO in Florida, and Donovan Robinson, who played collegiately at St. Mary's, the D3, St. Mary's College in Maryland, D3 school. He's actually overseas in Spain playing pro. They gave us our first ever undefeated run in the second session. They went 10-0. It was a humbling experience for a lot of the guys. They literally beat the hell out of everybody. It wasn't just blowouts, like they beat guys 7-0. They were down. They buckled down, got stops, found a way to win. They just out executed everybody, and they were hungry. You know what I'm saying? I've been getting hit up ever since about guys like, are they coming back? Guys want to get back at them, get revenge and stuff like that, because you don't normally see that in an open run, but they put it off. They put off a 10-0 run, but they kind of set the tone, and I'm glad it happened. It showed a lot of people that they got work to do, because that should never happen in an open run. But as you would imagine, a lot of players from that team made the all open run team for the session too. And we're going to start with the MVP, Ed Myers' top performer, Quentin Mincy out of Polk State. He's going to Polk State. Mount St. Mary's transfer, played high school at Eleanor Roosevelt. So far through two sessions, he's been the best player at the open runs by far. 6'5", athletic, Swiss Army knife type of player. He's defending, passing well. Lord knows, fortune everybody and everything in front of him. It's right now is unfair. And he's enjoying it, man. You know what I mean? I'm getting a lot of inquiries from a lot of D1 programs that are interested. They're watching open runs from afar, and they're seeing what he's doing. And, like I keep saying, the only knock on him coming out of high school was, can he shoot it good enough? And he's proven that. He always had athleticism. He was always versatile. He's a dog. He's not scared of nothing. He'd get out there and compete with anybody, defend multiple positions. He can, facilitate, but, the thing was his shooting. And as you see in open runs, he's been working on his shooting since he got home from Mount St. Mary's nonstop. Because I think in one stretch he had, 7 straight shots, 7 straight threes. They kept giving it to him, and he kept making them pay like talking trash, like, my jump of water now. Like, you can keep giving it to me, y'all just going to lose. And he proved that was the case. So, much respect to him, man. He's gonna I know he's gonna do his thing at JUCO next year. He stays focused, and whatever program gets him, they're getting a hell of a player, because he got a lot of talent. But most importantly, he has a high ceiling. Like, he hasn't even reached his full potential. I was talking to Ed afterwards. I pointed him out before the first session started. Like, as the guy to point to, he said, "I see what you're talking about," and he said he's a pro. So it's just up to him to see which level of pro is he gonna be overseas, or he be trying to play 82 games. That's on him in the next few years. Stephen Whitley out of Norfolk State, they call him Diesel. He set the tone. He's an all-conference player at Norfolk State, and I like what he brought, man. He's getting ready for his pro season. Obviously, the pandemic messed a lot of guys up last year, so they're on a mission to try to make up for that. And he set the tone, man. Just coming out there in tip-top shape, the physicality he brought. He didn't take it easy on nobody, even the high school kids. If they weren't ready to play, he had no problem getting them up out of there. 3-level scorer, strong as hell, driving to the basket, but could facilitate, man. And he's smart. He was the guy hedging. He was the guy digging down, getting timely steals. He was the guy rotating, making the proper reads, man. He set the tone. And he was the catalyst for why that Team Gray went undefeated. You know, they didn't lose a game, man. So he's big time. I see why he was all conference in the MEAC. And you know, why he has a lot of attention from the pros, man. He's solid, man. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't be shocked to see him try to make an attempt at the league down the line, you know, probably through the G League, whatever. He's that good. Next up, actually was a surprise. Totally, he contacted me about the run. He played at Ohio Christian NAIA school. I had never seen him play. I didn't know who he was. So, you know, put him on the team. You know, I know Wilson was joking, like, you can't be picking teams no more because they ended up all on the same team. And, you know, Telly killed, man. You know, he's strong, quick, shifty guard, scored from all three levels, and is a quality defender, man. You know, he's looking to transfer to a JUCO and regroup, try to get to a bigger program. And, yeah, he's that good, man. You know, no one could really stay in front of him the whole night. He obviously they were taking turns moving the ball on that team. When he got the ball, he did work. It was either a great pass for a bucket or he got the bucket. Simple as that. Colin Enemy, we all know what he brings. Big man, blocking shots, running the floor, you know, mid range. You know, his polish on the post has improved drastically from when he came out of high school. He's another Mount St. Mary's transfer. He'll make a Division I program real happy. So, you know, I know he's getting a lot of interest because of his size and athleticism, the way he protects him from a rebound. But he can score inside. You got to defend him down there now. So that's only going to improve his stock. You know, Levante, I ain't going to spend too much time on him. Levante, you know, he was doing work in the Piss League earlier. Y'all know what he does. Athletic combo guard that can attack the basket, defend all three perimeter positions. You know, jumpers are proven. You know, obviously I'm on him about shooting more. You know, I think he's the type he don't like to settle, but it ain't settling when you're playing smart. You know what I mean? So I just stay on him about that. But those are the five that stood out, made the all-session team. They all shine. They did their thing. Most of them said they'll be back this Friday. So we'll see if they can keep that undefeated streak going.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to Friday to see somebody knock them dudes off because, man, they showed us every different type of way to not get off the court. So everyone else in the gym, if you already felt some type of way, don't let it happen 2 weeks in a row, man. You shouldn't need any more incentives. They were having a good time. You got people that were rested. Talking about the other folks was, look, man, just
cherry picking.
Yeah, you can't say something with cherry picking when you're the fresh team. You know, they was the ones, 7 games in. Still fresher than you. And, one of them things, man, it was a good environment. Like Cardell said, I'm going to be old folk outside screaming at the clouds. The young folk need that. Some of that. Sometimes it's one of those things where you just need it, opens eyes. Sometimes, it's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing when you find out that, it's different, that weights matter. They actually do. At every position.
Real weights, iron. Not saying weights and bands. Who's the iron, dog?
Bands only work had some folks on the floor. The other stuff, they still had juice 8-9 games in, and we're fine if time permitted to go on. So I'm looking forward to see if anybody, get some get back. Because I know I would want some after seeing what just happened. And to slide over to the Mystics real quick. They lost to Atlanta on Sunday. Turnovers were a big part. You guys follow us with Mystics Outlook. You guys already know. They got 2 games this week. They host Atlanta on Thursday, the Fever on Saturday. So Ray, going to ask you real quick, just to provide a brief synopsis of pretty much essentially like what Mystics Outlook was this week before heading into some of the other news because they got some big news for Thursday. So let me get to that after you're done.
Yeah, man. So they started the game off pretty strong. Actually, the first couple minutes they were completely in control. They were competitive on the defensive end. Atlanta had a hard time getting the ball in the basket, and on the offensive side they were executing, but the train went off the rails rather quickly. The second quarter, the Dreams settled down, and they started pressuring the Mystics. We all know the Dreams backcourt is feisty and they're annoying. And, man, they were every bit of that on both ends of the floor the other night. The Mystics defensively, they were fine conceding to giving Atlanta jump shots, and Atlanta was making them and made them pay dearly. They were just on fire from everywhere, and the Mystics could never regroup. And, Atlanta put the pressure on them. They never let up, and they just kind of coasted to a victory. It was they took control of the game in the second quarter, and then the third quarter they just blew it open. And it was nothing the Mystics could do. They were just completely discombobulated. Turn the ball over. Natasha Cloud, she had started to kind of do what we have been saying she needs to do to lend to the success of this team. And the last couple of games were getting more aggressive. She was rather reserved this game. Could have been due to a hip injury she suffered. And Coach Sebo said she was still a little sore from today, but nevertheless, whatever the case was, Atlanta took advantage, and they pretty much just steamrolled them in the second half, and and that was that. They get another crack at them on Thursday, so we'll see what they've been in the lab working on this to avoid this again.
Yeah, they had some media availability today. Kind of like the pretty much obvious things. What are you going to do since Tina's not playing? I'll get to why Tina's not available on Thursday in a second. Y'all know Coach T, been around him enough. Questions like that, you could probably take a wild guess what the answer would be. I mean, clearly you're missing Tina Charles. Things would be a little bit different. He found some nice ways to go about that. Essentially talked about, defensively they need to be better. Ariel Atkins also kind of alluded to that as well, saying that, they've been talking about communication, specifically as it pertains to that end of the floor. She was just like, it's just something we need. Like, it has to continue. Like, I guess she's saying we've seen it being inconsistent. And when they're good, clearly we know they're communicating. And when it's not so good, we can tell they're not communicating. We got it. Literally, that game in Atlanta was a great example of they're not so good. And she was talking about they need to be more consistent on that end. And Coach She was also just like, yeah, they threw traps at us. Got to be better with how you move the ball with the traps. They're coming. Again, it's not a lot. It's not a whole lot to discuss. You play the team within, 3 or 4 days. You know what you did wrong. Kind of simple what you need to fix. Obviously, not having Tina is going to be a huge adjustment. One of the things Atkins said was, when they were mentioning, dealing within the last 2 years, dealing with all the changes in the lineup, she was like, she's going to draw on experience from the bubble because they had all types of people available, not available, injured, all types of crazy things going on. So bottom line, they got to focus on getting wins in terms of who's there. Whoever's there is there. Whoever's not is not. The whole cliche thing, control what you can control. As for Tina Charles, why she's not going to be available, this is from the PR release. Tina Charles will miss the team's game against Atlanta Dream on June 17th to attend the premiere of her movie Game Changer at the Tribeca Film Festival. Directed and produced by Charles, Game Changer tells the story of Tanya DePass, a lifelong Chicagoan and African-American gamer determined to make the gaming industry more inclusive for everyone, including people like her. Coach T mentioned in the release that this is something that they had discussed before the season even started. So it's not a surprise to anybody on the inside of the Mystics. Clearly, it's kind of a shocker to all of us on the outside. On the other side, Tina Charles was named the Eastern Conference Player of the Week. You see the numbers up there, 21.3 points per game, 8.3 rebounds, 1.7 assists. It's no shock. Almost every Mystics update this season has mentioned her level of stellar play. So I don't think that's really too much of a shock at all. We're going to head to our first break, but I'm going to ask you, Cardell, did you have anything you want to chime in on the Mystics? No, we pretty much just got a couple of days before we really get into Thursday. Don't feel like we need to keep talking about something where we're just waiting for Thursday. So for Thursday, just remind you guys, after Mystics Outlook, to tune in for Mystics Outlook after the game, during the game, follow the Focus TV along on Twitter for updates throughout it. Just tweet through it with us. We'll see what happens. Tweet through it with us, and then we'll talk about it after it's all done. You're watching the Focus TV. We're going to take our very first break, and when we get back, Octavia's going to let you guys know what happened in the Pitts League, specifically who are the 2021 Pitts League Spring Champions. So we'll see you guys in just a little bit. Welcome back to the Focus TV. As promised, Octavia, who were the 2021 Pitts League champions? And how did we get there?
Yes. So we must make sure I'm not on mute. Okay, good. I had to make sure I wasn't on mute now. I didn't want to end up like Wilson. So yes, how do we get there first? Of course. So first we had to go through our final four. So in the final four, the 5th seed Sam's Ballers took down 16 seed TSJ Elite 86-76. QJ Peterson and Mo Creek led the way for Sam's Ballers with 24 and 22 points each. Lucius Jones led TSJ Elite with 27 points. 11th seed JR's Mob beat 18th seed Nellis Group 79-62. JR's Mob was led by Jeff Allen's 22 points and Following Campbell's 20 points. Steve Perry had 23 points for Nellis Group. So that takes us to an also reminiscent championship game where I swear these two teams always play against each other for some way. It always comes down to Sam's Ballers and JNR's Mob. And Sam's Ballers beat JNR's Mob 82-68 to capture the Pitts League's Men's Spring Session Championship. QJ Peterson led Sam's Ballers with 23 points. Dante Nichols and Reggie Sims chipped in with 13 apiece. JNR's Mob was led by Jeff Allen's 19 points. Duro Monroe's had 16 and Zaid Hurst chipped in with 12. To give you a little bit into your MVPs, QJ Peterson was named the 2021 Spring Session Championship MVP, while Mo Creek was named the 2021 Spring Session Playoff MVP. So congratulations to Sam's Ballers. I swear every year there's a Pitts League tournament. It always comes down to Sam's Ballers and JNR's Mob. And I can say that not having been there in a while, but I still know every time there's a championship game, one of these two teams are included, if not both. So congratulations to JNR's Mob as well for getting to the championship. But I know they won't like that because we know they want to win. So can't wait to see how the Summer League goes.
And yeah, definitely get over there because I think they got the women's spring session that just started. So the women just got to get their spring session underway. But go ahead, Cordell.
These young, more skilled youngins be getting their ass whooped lately. They need to get on a playground or something, dog. Like, damn, dog, that's where we at. All right.
Same teams every year.
Something need to happen.
And those same teams, like those same old dudes keep getting older. But go ahead, Carter. I'm just saying the old teams, those old dudes keep getting older every year. But go ahead.
Just released, obviously, congrats to Brad Bill, Washington Wizards All-Star. He was named All-NBA third team. He was second in the league in scoring, averaged 31.3 points per game. Bill's the 5th player to earn All-NBA third team honors and the 14th player overall to earn All-NBA accolades in franchise history. He said, "I am humbled and honored to be named to the All-NBA third team. I would not be able to achieve this honor without my coaching staff, teammates, and our great fans who gave me unbelievable support during an unprecedented season. I am excited to get back to work this summer and building on what we were able to accomplish." Congrats to him, man. Well deserved. I kind of thought he would be higher, especially since they made the playoff run. But regardless, he got the job done, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's official. He is definitely one of the top 15 players in the NBA right now, and that just shows the work he put in. He was on the terror, man. And if he didn't really get injured kind of close to the season or whatnot, I think the hamstring thing and the hip, he had a couple hard falls where it bothered him. Him and Steph was going toe to toe down the stretch. He might have held on for the scoring championship. They hard to come by. I know people kind of like when they do the little comparisons, they try to act like what Mike did to 10 straight Jones act like it's easy, but you clearly see it's how hard it is. To put up 30 plus every night for 10 plus years, man. That's just tough. That's a lot of grind and wear and tear on your body, man. And you gotta be mentally tough to handle that. But congrats to Bill, man. Well deserved, man. Like I always say, when it comes to him, he's exactly, when you draft somebody in the lottery, he's exactly what you're looking for in a player. You know what I'm saying? He can hoop. He's going to carry a team. You'd be proud to have him as the face of your franchise. You know, no off the court nonsense. It's just about the game, and you can't really look at anything negative when it comes to that dude. Period.
Nah, it's definitely well deserved. And it makes, again, we've been talking about this Wizards all season, how interesting and pivotal it's going to be. Just throw something else, on top of that, because they got this thing where you make all NBA. That it puts you in a different realm financially.
More money.
Yeah. So, if you've managed the cap well, you have no issues. You already knew you might have had to, fit in a Supermax player. If you didn't, fun times. All season should be fun. That's it. We'll talk about that when he gets here. What's important is shout to Brad for the job that he did. He definitely deserves national recognition for the work that he's put in on his game, especially from where he started to where he is now and getting to that consistent place with it. So definitely deserves it. Quick update from DC United. I told you guys they had an international break. I've enjoyed watching a lot of the international you got friendlies and qualifications for Olympics and whatnot and things of that nature. It's very fun. That said, MLS play resumes this week. The Black and Red host the team they last beat before the break in Inter Miami. I believe they beat them 3-1 that day. Someone got to please fact check me. It was a long time ago. It was only like 3 weeks, but it feels like forever. Saturday night at Audi Field, they host Inter Miami as they look to try to start get on the right foot to start, this portion of the season after the break. Quick shout out to Maryland women's basketball team. They received the silver medal in the 2021 Red Bull USA Basketball 3-on-3 Nationals. The team was comprised of Katie Benson, Mimi Collins, Faith Masonis, and Angel Reese. The Terps lost 3 heartbreakers in Saturday's preliminary rounds. They battled back to beat a team called Legacy 10-9 in the quarterfinal matchup on Sunday. Then the championship match versus Force 10. They went up early, but they fell 16-10. The Terps finished second of the final standings, higher than any other of the college teams from Oregon, Louisville, North Carolina State, Kansas State. So shout out to them for that. Definitely worth mentioning them. And then, you got the college team, the college women's team. They're doing their thing right now. Got some exhibitions. It's been fun to watch them. I know the Big Ten's well represented with that group. But let's get to the 9-4-50 breakdown. This week, Jamal Hayward, what he has for you all. Elbow pivot work with minimal dribbles. Again, elbow pivot work with minimal dribbles. Followed by our second break. When we get back, we'll talk about these NBA playoffs that seem quite riveting.
First shot, first shot. Make sure you protect the ball. So defenders right here, protect the ball. Step in aggressive. Okay? Shot. Okay? So again, post back. Turn inside. Aggressive with this right foot. Here. Now hide the ball here so they won't get the ball. Shot. Second one. Okay? Post back. Turn in aggressive again. Shot fake. Shot. Okay? Alright. Third one. Here. Shot fake jab. What's that? Okay? That's the third shot. So that's 3 different shots here. Same thing on this side. Same thing on this side. Right pivot. Here. Shot. Third one. Right pivot. Shot. Okay? All right pivot. Third one. Jab. Here. Shot. Got it? Yeah. 3 different shots. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Focus TV. Again, thanks to Jamal Hayward and the 9-4-50 breakdown. All right, so Cardo, let's get into it. NBA playoffs. You want to go series by series? Got a nice graph to throw up there and whatnot. Where you want to start? We got one team that's already through, and everybody else is 2-2.
We're gonna start with this series. We're gonna start with the series where the Bruins came out. Phoenix swept the Denver Nuggets on Sunday. It was the Chris Paul series. Let's call it what it is, man. He was masterful. He literally ran everything. I don't think people really understand how lethal he was. He averaged 25.5 points, 10.3 assists, 5 rebounds, 1.5 steals, on an insane 62% shooting from the field, 75% shooting from three. He was perfect from the free throw line. He was 22 of 22 and only turned it over 5 times the entire series. It ain't really much you can do against when a point guard playing like that, dog. That's you gotta take your whooping like a man, dog. That's why Jokic and I love Jokic, but they picked on him. This is why paying attention to defense matters. I know a lot of people don't like that word. You got to work hard. It's not fun when you getting picked on. As these guys in the playoffs has been getting picked on, and it's not that Jokic wasn't willing. The analytics set him up. If you look at how Denver defended, analytics said don't give up the three. No Chris Paul, being the mid-range assassin he is, got around, got to the elbow. Jokic is sitting back in the paint. No one's coming to help because they're staying with the shooters. He had a wide open jumper. Okay. And he continued to hit it and hit it and hit it till he was just, he was unconscious, man. They couldn't do nothing with him. So just what were your thoughts on the series? We're going to start with you, Octavian, and move around. What were your thoughts on the series overall?
I mean, you said it. Like you said, it's the Chris Paul series. Like Chris Paul ran that from top to bottom, and it was nothing they could do about it. Unfortunately, Denver just didn't have as much firepower, and the people that were clicking in the Portland series just weren't clicking in this series. They had like very slight sightings of Monte Morris, and I saw the flashes of Michael Porter Jr., but he's just still not consistent. So he still has some time that he needs to work on becoming, if he wants to be that guy, he has to be able to do that night in and night out, especially with them missing Jamal Murray. Without him scoring, they didn't have enough. And, like you said, they were picking on Joker. They knew they made everybody else beat him. And they just could not stop Chris Paul. They couldn't stop Devin Booker. Mikal Bridges was getting on. Even, veteran Jay Crowder, he always finds a job because he does all the intangibles. He's your tough guy that gives you everything he has. And it was just too much for them. I will go on record and say I still don't think that the Jokic ejection was fair. I don't really care. I didn't like it. But yeah, I just feel like the Suns are just too much. It was bogus to me. Like I've seen way worse fouls than that be called a flagrant one. And to eject the MVP on a game deciding series, I just thought that was bogus. But either way, it wouldn't have changed the outcome, to be completely honest. But I just think that was a bogus way for them to, to let him go out like that. But he did all he can do. The team's still, they're still building. They've come a long way. And, Barton was able to get back. And I'm sure once they get Jamal Murray back next year, they'll be right back in the same hunt. But right now, to me, it's looking like the Suns. Like I know there's other teams still in this playoff hunt, but the Suns look good. And I don't know who's going to be able to contest them at this moment. But we're in for some really good basketball as this comes up, especially because old man Chris Paul at 36 is getting a lot of time off to rest that shoulder up and, get rejuvenated. And we all know how well he takes care of his body. So the next series is just going to be tough.
Right.
Yeah, man. I knew Denver was in trouble because whenever you got to take your second string backcourt up against Chris Paul and Devin Booker, it's going to be a long and short series at the same time because they were swept, but I'm sure it ain't feel like it went by quick because they was just getting tortured, man. And like you pointed out, Cardell, they just exploited them off those pick and rolls.
There you go.
They were content with Chris Paul getting to the shot he's been making for 15 years. So you get what you deserve, man. Like, he wasn't missing. Like, you have to do something different. He wasn't going to miss. But yeah, I guess the guys upstairs broke out their calculators and graphs and said this is how we should defend them. And they got the results they got. But kudos to Phoenix, man. They played excellent. They were number 2 seed for a reason. Like, I don't, the people that didn't respect their seeding or what have you, they're showing why they won that many games in a regular season. I think DeAndre Ayton's contribution goes unnoticed, because of the other 2 guys. But you're not going to stop Jokic. He's the MVP, but Ayton, he can make his life a little harder than others can, and that just allowed them some flexibility where they didn't have to double as much. So yeah, man, Phoenix, they clicking on all cylinders. They hungry. They got one of the greatest leaders in basketball on the court. That's definitely going to help them, especially as they advance in the playoffs. It's just always good to have a veteran there to kind of calm things and just rein those guys in when needed. But yeah, man, they clicking on all cylinders. It's whoever plays them in the conference finals got their hands full. No matter who wins that other series, it's going to be tough for them. And I hope they're ready because like you pointed out, Octavia, they get to sit and chill now and wait for you. And that can only benefit them. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it.
And just to piggyback on what you said, Raymond, I always felt like DeAndre Ayton was the X factor. They needed him to grow up, and he started growing up a little bit in the bubble, but they needed him to take that lead where he's effective on both ends. You know what I'm saying? He's pretty much been averaging a double-double throughout the playoffs. And you got to also look at it in his first playoffs and look who he had to go up against. I know AD was injured, but he had to go up against him. Yeah, and the MVP. And he's averaging a double-double, so the sky's the limit. He's the now it's starting to get back in the league where you need a quality big if you want to go deep in the playoffs because you're not winning without one. You know what I mean? Because think about it, they didn't have him. It wouldn't have mattered what Chris Paul and Devin Booker would have did because your Jokic would have had his way. They would have been too small. And they was also missing TJ Dozier. That's another 6'5" dude. He went off in the bubble himself last year. He was a big piece. He was injured as well, just like Jamal Murray. He didn't play. And they needed all hands on deck because, look, Facu too small. Austin Rivers, he's a role player, backup reserve for a reason. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect, but you can't expect him to lock up Devin Booker. That's just not going to happen. You know what I mean? So it's tough. Wilson, what are your thoughts?
Chris Paul was the perfect thing that this young team needed. It was literally everything he brings to the table. It's exactly what they needed. I don't feel like it's too much of a surprise. There was a lot of young, talented guys in different places in their development. And Chris Paul allowed them, he helped accelerate that, being able to control the tempo, the things that he's been doing for years. You don't turn the ball over as much. Guys getting the ball in time and rhythm, you guys. And it's something, if you're a young player, think about the type of battery that puts in your back when that's the floor general. You mentioned DeAndre Ayton. I know everybody's excited about what Book's doing. It is great, not to take anything away from him. But, DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges, I'm going to mess up his name now. The kid Cam from UNC. Is it Cam Johnson?
Cam Johnson?
Yeah.
And
Cam Johnson and Payne.
Cam Payne, yeah, like all those little pieces matter, man. And having someone like Chris takes the pressure off. They're just a really good team, and I'm not really shocked, man. This goes to just I don't know how many people wasted their league pass minutes on watching Phoenix. If you did, you're not shocked. If you didn't, well, you should have spent that time better, clearly.
No doubt, and shout out to Will Barton coming right off of an injury and playing with heart. He was the second best player with Jokic. You know what I'm saying? When they had guys there that was fully healthy that didn't really show up, you know what I'm saying? That's why, and not to keep picking on him, but, when, Michael Porter Jr. last year was, called out the coach in the playoffs. You remember that? You know what I'm saying? And now you being counted on to be that guy, you don't deliver. Like, you got to chill with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, be careful what you ask for. You know what I'm saying? Because really, this was his first year really, really being in the playoffs. Like fans having to travel on the road, go back and forth and all that. The bubble wasn't real. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, he got his first taste of it. He was young, so hopefully he's better for it. But, you know, the playoffs are different animal, as everyone knows, and as every player will tell you. Next up. Oh, man. Whew. Clippers and the Jazz. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, they made sure LA handled their business at home, tying the series at 2-2. Both Kawhi PG-13 are averaging 27.3 points, literally. Both are nearly averaging 8 boards. Both are nearly averaging around 4 assists per game. Kawhi is shooting 50% from the field. Paul George is shooting 44% from 3. Donovan Mitchell for the Jazz is averaging 37.4 and 46% shooting from the field, 45% shooting from deep, and 80% shooting from the line. Ray, we're going to start with you. What are your thoughts on this series?
Like, I think the Clippers just go down 0-2 on purpose. Like, I don't get it, man. But
they play too much.
But no, this is right, man. I don't know, man. They need a challenge. But this is a great series. Both these teams match up well. You know, Utah, we talked about their balance before. And you know, this is kind of that right now, this is kind of a culmination over the past few years. You know, they've been slowly building and maturing, and now they're kind of seeing the fruits of their labor. They came in with the number 1 seed, well deserved. You know, they kind of got experience and they're gelling now. You know, they got defensive player of the year, Rudy Gobert. They got Donovan Mitchell, who is an elite scorer. Then they got Ingles, Bogdanovich, 6th man of the year, Jordan Clarkson. They're just a very well put together team. They play with discipline. They're well coached. You know, the Clippers, I mean, they got the top heavy guys, PG and Kawhi. I've yet to kind of see them maximize their potential, for lack of a better word. You know, at least for long stretches. You know, we know what they can be. Like, we've seen it before. But you know, they come out the first 2 games just completely flat and look like they're dead in the water. And then the next 2 games they're dominant. So I don't know, man. They can't keep rolling the dice like this, because it's getting tougher as they move on. And we all know what happens if they flame out again this year. But yeah, I don't know. I can't call it, man. Of course, this next game is extremely pivotal for obvious reasons. You know, yeah, I think whoever wins Game 5 is going to win the series, because it just puts a ton of pressure on the other team. They ain't got to win 2 out of 3, and you know, just the way this series is going, kind of seesawing. I just think whoever gets that leg up and the momentum is going to take it, because like I said, they're very evenly matched. So yeah, man, we got to see how it goes, you know. But looking at how the last series ended, if Kawhi turns into that guy, I think we see them in the conference finals playing Phoenix.
Wilson.
Yeah, the Clippers got this thing where like they just don't want to do anything until they have to. Like they just need the pressure of their back firmly pressed against the wall before they do remotely anything that they're supposed to do. I'm sure it drives Ty Lue crazy. But yeah, I'm not really shocked that it's 2-2. Just interested to see how Utah deals with it, because you know, PG hasn't really got rolling yet offensively. He's done a good job getting back into it. Last couple games defensively and just doing some of the little things. And Kawhi, I don't think there's really much to say. You know, I felt bad for my guy Derek Favors. That was tough to see. And then you had the robot tell you that he wasn't aware of what happens on the internet because he's not plugged into it. You almost got to believe him. But I look forward to the rest of the series, man. It should be fun. But yeah, Utah has to deal with stopping those 2. And especially in this series, you kind of see the value in Nick Batum, because they don't really have having another person to help move the ball against Utah.
Octavia.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. I will say, like, I just feel like the Clippers play too much, and they're gonna run into somebody that's not playing, and they're gonna end up being on at home in LA chilling with the other team. So I have they're a great team. Kawhi's been killing. PG has been steadily improving. It's in this series. He started off a little bit shaky in games 1 and 2. But even for the Clippers, like a lot of people aren't even talking about Reggie Jackson's been carrying them at times when PG wasn't stepping up. He's been hitting a lot of key shots for them, and he's been really, really good in that starting position. So he's been having a great series as well. But I can never count Donovan Mitchell out. He just has to find the correct code to unleash his skills again, because it seems like he was able to get off easily in games 1 and 2, and they were finally able to okay, same thing the Clippers did in the Dallas series. Kawhi was like, all right, I guess I'm gonna have to guard him, just like he had to step up and guard Luka in the last series. So it really comes down to that. I feel like they need to probably give Gobert some more touches and work inside out a little bit, but at the same time, I can't call it. I just feel like if the Clippers come out there slipping, the Jazz is going to take it to them. But also, I think the biggest thing that impacts this series is the fact that Mike Conley hasn't played at all. So, I haven't heard any reports about how I can't remember if it's his hamstring or his groin is progressing, if he's going to be in this series at all. If he comes back, I feel like that changes it up a little bit for the Jazz. But again, can't call it. I feel like since these last 2 games, the Clippers have shown who they are, who we've always thought they should have been. And it's going to be a tough series, but definitely, like Ray said, I think game 5 is going to be a pivotal one. If the Jazz come out there and win on their home floor, I can see them closing it out in the next game. But if the Clippers come out there and have a great game, it's going to be tough. So I'm very interested to see how this series goes.
And also everything y'all said, and they definitely need Mike Conley. But the reason why I'm looking at the Clippers, it's not just because of Kawhi and Paul George. Reggie Jackson, he's had an outstanding series. He's murdering that point guard, the Utah Jazz point guards who I was running, and that's forcing Donovan to have to expend more energy and have the ball in his hands to keep everybody honest and whatnot. I don't think people are aware of the damage he's doing. He's having a resurgence, honestly, throughout the playoffs, but especially in this series. Reggie Jackson, he's averaging 14.8 points and 2.8 assists, but he's shooting 59% from the field and 57% from 3. And he's perfect from the free throw line in 4 games. Like, he's committed homicide out there. He's been the difference. You know what I'm saying? So, like, he's even been consistent when the Clippers were losing in Utah. He was still consistent. They needed Paul George to wake up a little bit or whatnot, and he's starting to get it together. So I think that's been the advantage. Like, the point guard play, similar to what we saw in Phoenix, whatever. We all know in the playoffs it's about matchups. And even though during the regular season you could have looked like the better team, if you run into a team where you match up bad against them, you can go home early. And that's what it's starting to look like. They need Mike Conley bad because obviously he's crafty and stuff, and Reggie wouldn't just be able to do all that. But I'm looking at their guard play, like, shoot, they don't really even have a true backup point guard. Let's call it what it is. They don't. Donovan Mitchell's a ball handler. Joe Ingles will bring the ball up, and maybe Jordan Clarkson, but we all know he's a scorer. He's a 6-man scorer, so that's why they're struggling right now, and the Clippers are taking full advantage. Moving on to the next series, actually, that last night got tied up. Atlanta and Philadelphia. B, man, how the hell you missed that layup? They tied 2-2. B made that layup. It could be 3-1. We don't know. But Trae Young, came up big in the stretch, especially with a couple lobs and a couple plays late. So, Wilson, what are your thoughts on this series?
Just Philly, like you talk about a big opportunity. not to get to go up 3-1. Atlanta's the type of team you got to put them away. You know, it's that thing Ray always loves to say, you leave teams in close games long enough. You know, sometimes, you know, they accidentally, you know, knock you off. Atlanta's a tough, talented team. You know, Carter, I know you said many times this year, you know, myself, we've seen them coming for a while. They're here now. They're annoying, as you know what. They're going to fight this all the way to the end. And for Philadelphia, you really feel like last game was it could come back to bite them, but you know, at the end of the day, it's still 2-2. So we're gonna see what ends up happening. But you had a chance. Had you know, you got an all-world player missing a layup. He has to finish that. He knows that. But yeah, it's a good series. But again, Philadelphia's had opportunities to do what they needed to do, take control of it. They didn't. You know, it's 3 games left. We'll see. You see who gets who wins what, the best out of 3. So see what happens. But it's been a fun series.
Octavian.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that, you know, Joel is going to continue to play this bad unless he is still injured and they're just not telling us. I feel like that's always been the Achilles heels for them in the playoffs is if Embiid is fully healthy. The fact that he didn't score a field goal in the second half, I think he only scored a free throw, is crazy. Like, I would love to know the stat line of how many times that's ever happened to him in his career that he hasn't scored in an entire half. But, you know, I don't think he'll have that bad of a game again, unless he's injured. But Atlanta, you know, they took it when they could. So it's a scrappy series for them. But unless something crazy happens, you know, their shooters haven't been making a lot of shots. Clint Capella hasn't been too instrumental for them, you know, as the series has progressed. If Tobias Harris can continue, you know, his uptick, Seth Curry, his stellar play that he's been playing with as well, he's been killing from shooting. But I ultimately think Philly will get the series. But again, like you talked about, Atlanta has been coming and they are annoying. And it's just to see if Trae Young can, kind of the same way as I talked about Donovan Mitchell, unlock, you know, his potential in these games. Like he had it all in game 1. They kind of figured out what they needed to do to slow him down, and they've been doing that. He's got to figure out a different way for him to impact the game more on the scoring side. But it's going to be tough, you know, but I think we'll kind of get more clarity in this next game. And again, if Embiid is really healthy, like, I don't know if I believe it. I don't feel like he's ever had he hasn't had a season where he's been fully healthy. And them losing Danny Green as well definitely hurt them. You know, he may not be scoring as well as he did when he played for Toronto in the championship, but he's always a defensive player for them. So they will miss him a little bit as well. So we'll just have to see how they are able to, you know, bounce back in the next game.
Real quick, Octavia, he's not healthy, but and that's why he got fatigued. They figured that out.
He's tired.
Him and he got fatigued and his legs was gone. That's why he was bent over, and that's why he couldn't finish. His legs were gone. So just think about it with that whatever torn meniscus or whatever. He's not practicing. His only reps are during the game. Like, he didn't even come out last game until right before the game. So, and I think Atlanta figured that out. So they got something moving forward. Just keep attacking him. Look at him. He's not even trying to contest like that. Like, he was doing much better against the Wizards before he got hurt. So, and that's dangerous with Collins and Capella and Trae Young with that rock. So we're going to see how they go.
Yeah, Collins too. He's killing. Well, he's getting his motor up again.
Yeah, Philly ain't doing themselves no favors, man. That was oh boy, they put themselves in a very dangerous predicament, man. Like, you know, given a team like this Atlanta team is too young to care about the magnitude of this situation. Honestly, they really just look like they out there hooping, you know, and that's dangerous, man. With a team as talented as this, you know, they don't care that they're playing the number 1 seed. Like, they feel like they have a legitimate chance to win this, and now the series is tied. And, you know, Yeah, Philly blew it. They blew it, man. I'm not saying the series is over by any means, but as we all know, 3-1 is a whole lot better than 2-2. And and then with you guys just pointing out Embiid's limitations, and then Philly kind of exploiting that in the last game. Who knows what happens if they come out and they just go right back to it. They're already deadly in that pick and roll with Trey making the decision, and then you got Collins or Capella on the finish. And then if their shooters catch fire, then you got a whole nother issue on your hands. So yeah, man, Philly, they got to go back to work. So it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. Trey Young, he's just kind of growing up right in front of us. This is his first rodeo here in the postseason, and he's showing up. And man, if he has a out of body experience, he's capable of just kind of putting this thing away on his own. So yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be real interesting.
All right. Wilson, did you go? You was first, right?
Yep.
All right, last series, Brooklyn Bucks. Right now, the Bucks are up. Series tied 2-2. The Bucks are up 29-15. We all know at the end of the first, actually, no Kyrie, no James Harden. Right now, Jeff Green is Nets leading scorer with 8. Drew Holiday has 8 and 3 for the Bucks to lead the way. Obviously, they're gonna throw all types of bodies at KD and say somebody else beat us. I don't think they can, but we'll see. You got 3 quarters left. Just we're gonna start with you, Octavio. Just what are your thoughts on this series with everything that has unfolded?
So James is playing, and
he played. Oh, no, that game time.
Yeah, he became. They said as the day went on, he went from out to doubtful to questionable to before the game started, he was on the court and he was able to go. I haven't been able to pay attention enough, but I want to see how well he's playing. I can't imagine he's anywhere near 100%. And if he's not, they've been, without him out there, and now without Kyrie with the high ankle sprain, it's gonna be real tough because the Bucks been playing really well lately. Chris Middleton's been coming on. We know Drew Holiday. Giannis seems to kind of got his head back into the series, and PJ Tucker is playing KD as much as close as anybody could play him right now. And he's not giving him an inch. KD was all over the floor in the last game, and you could see how much it took a toll on the game for them. I know they're happy to at least have Jeff Green back. They missed him a lot, but if James isn't, 100% healthy and Kyrie doesn't come back, I can't see it happening with the way the Bucks are playing. But we know the type of person that KD is. If he can get on and just ball out, they're always going to be tough to beat. But they also need their others to step up as well, from the shooting to defense and everything. But it's just hard for me to see with just KD out there and the way PJ Tucker is playing against him. And if James isn't 100% and Kyrie can't get back, it's going to be tough for them to win this series.
And right now, James is 0 for 3 with 2 turnovers, 2 rebounds.
It doesn't sound healthy to me.
But meanwhile, the Bucks, Drew Holiday up. He's doing this thing. Middleton has 8, and Giannis has 6 and 5 and 2 assists already. So their guys are playing well on the road. So, Ray, what you think, man?
Yeah, man, this situation's looking bleak for Brooklyn. But man, especially once Kyrie got hurt, then looking at how this game is going, I just kind of think back to Game 3, man. It was a winnable game. Nets had it in their grasp, and it slipped away. you know, that puts them up 3-0. You know, and then they're in a much better situation, even with the injuries. So that just goes to show how important every single game is. Like, now they're fighting for their lives, and you know, like Octavia pointed out, with the depleted roster at this point, it's going to be extremely tough for them to make it out this series. You know, unless KD does some KD stuff, and even then, it's going to be dicey. You know, just given how how the Bucks have just kind of turned things around and snatched the momentum away. So yeah, you know, it's definitely unfortunate that the injuries keep rearing their ugly heads in the playoffs. Like, it's been insane how many like, not just rotation guys, but like all-stars are going down. You know, so and it's changing the course of series. So so yeah, we'll see how it goes, man. It's not looking too good right now. Looks like Milwaukee's up 32-18. Only 2 people have scored for the Nets: KD with 10 and Jeff Green with 8. So yeah, we gonna have to see how this one goes.
Yeah, and that injury thing, you can't blame it on the bubble or the short turnaround with the season, because a lot of these teams were out of the playoffs last year. So that's kind of like, advancing or whatever for the most part. So you can't even use that, man. All this so advanced technology and stuff like that, but I look at he don't get that well. So I don't know what's the situation going on. But go ahead, Wilson.
Yeah, it's bleak, but they're not the only team that's hurt in the playoffs. They either gonna figure it out or they're not, or you'll be playing next year. It is what it is. It's for the Bucks. They got back into the series. They smell blood. I think they're about 11 right now. They're trying to get this over with, because if you're Milwaukee, the last thing you want to do is hang around and leave it up to maybe one of them crazy behind scorers to have one of them nights, and then you miss an opportunity. Ray talked about opportunity. Mm-hmm. The Nets missed already when they had a chance to go up 3-0. I'm sure they're thinking about that now, because that was before the Kyrie injury, right? And obviously we don't know. I'm not trying to play revisionist history to the degree where, like, well, if they win that game, that means Kyrie doesn't get hurt. I'm not saying all that. Just saying that they had a big opportunity and it was lost. That said, the others, like you mentioned, they got to come to party. I think somebody had to settle it a while ago in the first quarter. Everybody not named KD that started was 0 for 9 from the floor as a starter. And you guys already mentioned, just him and Jeff scored, and I don't think that's changed yet. It's just him and Jeff scoring. So we'll see what happens.
Figure out if you want to. That's how the DMV roll, dog. Listen,
as it goes for the area, the area is keeping them in the game.
DMV step up, baby. DMV always ready to go, baby. Ain't nothing new.
They're definitely putting on is a heck of a marketing tool for this area, this part of the country.
They really are the only 2 people that have scored. KD has 10 and Jeff Green has 13.
Yeah.
Hey.
It's crazy.
They say we're gonna do it like it's the farms, baby. You go, I go, baby. You get a bucket, I get a bucket. Let y'all niggas defend. Hey, give us that defend. Damn.
Yeah, everybody else was 0-3. Blake Griffin ain't even take a shot in the first quarter. Jesus.
Yeah, I mean that's where it's at. Cardell, you had anything you wanted to add for this series before we close out? Or?
No, sir. It's on you.
All right. Well, we want to thank you guys for tuning in this evening. We'll see you guys later this week from This Is Outlook. And don't forget, we'll have some updates coming next week from the 3rd session of the Finals Open Run. Definitely looking forward to that. You guys have a great evening. Don't forget to get over to thefocustv.com. Y'all have a great night.